Session. Welcome. Say hello in the chat. Let me know where you're from. Let me know if you could hear me. We always like to test that ahead of time so I don't talk for too long when no one can hear me. So today we have a few things on the agenda. Let me see what I wrote down here. Couple quick things. I'm going to talk about some new events that are coming up. I'm going to talk about those first because they're coming up pretty soon here. And one of them is a virtual event. One of them is going to be live in person. Additionally, we have I'll talk about a new video that I put out in the last couple days. And then I'm late because I was putting together another YouTube channel, which seems like it would be interesting, right? So we have David on. What's up? We have Sandro. We got the Chunky Moose as well. So welcome everyone. Good to have you on. And I think I could probably hear myself here. Yep, I can hear myself. That is great. We have Jeremy on as well. So I'm going to launch into just material right away. I'm not going to wait for people to join because I'll probably repeat things here and there. Plus, it could be a light crew today. I'm not sure. I'm guessing it could be a light crew, but I will launch right into the stuff we're going to talk about, and then I'll tell you about some things on the horizon. So number one, Pubtelligence is a virtual event put on by Ezoic, and I was actually going to speak at their real in-person live event in New York City back in April. Talked about that for a little while, and then about 1 month ahead of time, it was canceled. So everyone knows exactly why. And it was kind of a bummer because I was looking forward to speaking, and I joined Toastmasters, I did a couple live speeches, and then the Toastmasters meetings were then shut down. Anyway, they realized that all their events were going to be canceled. I think there are multiple Pubtelligence events out there. And then they've put together a virtual event next week. I believe it's the 28th through the 30th. I'm in the middle day, the 29th. You can register for each of the individual sessions. And I do encourage you to register because you'll have access to the replay as well. So if you're unable, I know there's an international audience for this channel, so you can register. And if you can't make it live, you can catch the replay later. So pretty cool. And there are not a ton of slots. I think the event that was going to be held had roughly the same number of sessions, but they were a little bit shorter. Many times they were half hour, 45 minutes, and it was a 1-day live event. But in this case, they're spreading it out to 3 days, and it's an honor to be one of the few speakers that they have. So pretty cool. And Gaurav mentions that he has already registered. Fantastic. Says it's an awesome lineup. Yeah, in the SEO section, there's Barry Schwartz, I believe, from SEO. Is it SEO Roundtable? I should know that. But one of the most prominent SEO blogs with news and huge blog. So he's speaking. There's a roundtable, and then I have the afternoon slot. So pretty cool. Again, too bad it's not going to be in person, and I'll circle back on that with basically the Toastmasters that I'm a part of now, but I haven't been super active in the last few weeks. So someone remind me if I forget to talk about it. The other thing is who's in Atlanta. People let me know if you're in the Atlanta area, if you're in Georgia, if you're roughly in the Southeast. First, keep wearing masks and wash your freaking hands out there. But we're going to be holding a little meetup. So I'm going to be in the Atlanta area coming up soon. On August 2nd, the Sunday, there will be an event. I'm going to have a meetup, and I think that is the correct date. Hopefully I wrote it down properly. The 2nd. My calendar is just flying by. I looked earlier, so I assume that's correct. We're going to have a meetup, probably outdoors, probably very small. Last time I bought food for everybody, bought drinks for everybody, and hung out. Probably not going to be that situation, but I know there's going to be a handful of people in Atlanta. Marty and Evan, popular people of the podcast and YouTube were able to attend live. There's a couple other folks I know. Derek Bingham is out of the Atlanta area too, so it could be a bit of a celebrity YouTube celebrity success story folks in there, which will be pretty cool. And like I mentioned previously, it's going to be as hopefully as safe as we can make it. Who knows what things are going to be like in a week and a half or whatever, a couple weeks coming up. Or is that just a week? Man, time's flying by. Anyhow, we're going to have a little gathering. No real agenda. I think last time I just talked about a couple quick things, and then we just had like a Q&A and everybody just kind of mingled together, which was fun. Oh, Ashley's on too. What's going on? So it'll be a similar event probably in the Gwinnett area, which I just saw a headline that it's like one of the hotbeds of COVID activity out there. Something else. All right. What else did I have written down here? Pubtelligence, the Atlanta Meetup. Oh, there's a link over there's a page with basically no information, but it's a placeholder for Niche Site Project and that event. So the link is in the description. Check back there. Most likely I'm going to post just a link to like a Google form to RSVP and just sort of manage it that way and then put all the information there. I think last time I sent out an email and then like replied back individually to each person, which was fine, but definitely not the most efficient way to do it. So I just put it on a page and all the information will be there. All right. And since it's going to be probably outside, probably in a park, I won't have to like reserve a space for a certain amount of people or anything like that. Okay. Another thing to mention, I'm going to skip back up if you're following along in our description. One thing I've been thinking about for a little while was creating another channel to house the clips. People like to have the short interview clips where maybe they don't have time to watch the whole thing. They just want, this snippet. It's a little more bite-sized. I think people end up watching many of them anyway, but you don't feel tied in. And I get it. I mean, I rarely watch super long clips on YouTube because I'm usually not just sitting waiting to watch something. So I 100% get it. The other thing is I also put out videos with the podcast, right? So people wanted to hear the podcast, and I just basically what you have observed is how I'm able to execute and just do a bunch of stuff because I'm like, what's the easiest way to do it that is probably not the most effective, probably not the best way to do it. Like I just ended up publishing. I was like, okay, what's the fastest way for me to implement this? And I'll fix it later, basically. So the result is I think the channel probably has over 1,000 videos, maybe even over 1,100. There's a lot of them that are just not published right now. So I go through sort of, different times of interest. So for a little while, I was watching a ton of YouTube videos on YouTube channels and the YouTube algorithm. And then I shifted over to more photography stuff and camera gear and that sort of thing. And I started seeing a couple of videos by Roberto Blake, who I followed for a long time. Actually, I think he's out of Atlanta now. He's too popular. I couldn't even just send him an email. Although I enrolled in one of his courses and I was checking back. I was like, I don't even remember buying that other one, but I guess I did. Anyway, the point is I was watching a Roberto Blake video just earlier today. And I was thinking about this anyway. I was like, I know it's a little sloppy to have all this stuff going on one channel. And I didn't even watch the whole video. I didn't watch all of Roberto's video. I'm going to watch the whole thing. It's like 17 minutes long, but basically he said the YouTube algorithm does in fact like favor a channel where they're publishing content on the same thing and it's not diluted. Basically, I'm diluting the channel, which I knew I was doing the whole time, but there's only so many things we can do at once. So as I was just thinking about it and just saw that video, he was like, yeah, I consulted with this one person who basically started only putting out videos that were on the topic that people signed up for, and then kept it clean otherwise. And then his channel did really well. So I don't think I'll see that sort of growth, but I am trying to tighten it up. So all that to say, right when I was about to start this live stream here, I created another channel, which there's a link in the description. So the good people that are here, you can perhaps click on it sometime soon and let me know if there's any kind of huge mistake. And probably what I'll do, and I don't know if it's going to be like a permanent thing, because currently, I mean, I get a handful of views on the clips, but I'm not sure if there's going to be enough subscribers for me to actually say, all right, this is 100% worthwhile for me to have another channel where I just play clips. I mean, the fact is it costs money to edit the clips down. And even though there's a lot of automation behind it, I'm not sure if it'll, pay for itself, which is hard to quantify because I'm probably not going to run ads over there. So that said, it would just be like a pure sort of value for the audience. You can watch it at your leisure or not. So anyway, if you're interested in that stuff, head over there and subscribe. It's literally a brand new channel. I put it on one of my Gmail accounts, and it's called, I don't even remember. I think it's called Doug Cunnington's Clips channel. Doug Cunnington Clips channel. I may change it, but that is exactly what it is. And if you're interested in it, you could subscribe. You could actually be one of the first subscribers on there, because there were 0 before. There were 0 subscribers. So let's see, is there anything even active over there? So I was actually putting together one of the mashup videos, 4 hours long, the 3 interviews that I have consecutively with Christy. So her first 3 interviews, where she was making $100, then I think $1,000, and then $1,500. And I have an interview coming out on Monday with Christy, and her site is now valued at $100,000, which is amazing. So you can see just the progression. And Sandro says the channel doesn't have any content. That is true. So I put together this mashup, and that's probably the first one that I'm going to publish over there. And it's 4 hours. So Christy for 3, for 3 interviews, and then we have Marty, his first 3 interviews as well. So should be interesting just to see how it plays out, and then what kind of views come about. I have no idea. So we'll let it sit. We'll see how it goes. And then that said, most likely I'm going to do a Doug.Show podcast channel. So all the podcasts can live there. And someone left a comment recently, and they were like, why is this published 6 months later? Because it's an afterthought. And if you want to get the new stuff, you had to subscribe to the podcast on your directory. So basically, it's running 6 months behind because that's when I started publishing it. But I may just turn it all loose and then have that as the podcast channel. All that to say that the content on the main channel might be a little bit tighter. And we see Jaren's on. What's going on? And a lot of people are saying, nice job, Ashley, on the recent podcast. So yeah, thanks, Ashley, for that. Another thing to mention is with the podcast, the episodes are coming out 6 months late, and someone was like, oh man, I wish, why are you publishing it so late? So hopefully if I just throw them all out, I can catch up and everything is sort of current. That said, I do often publish the YouTube interview and the podcast at the same time. They're slightly different content. So it's interesting. A lot of people do listen to podcasts on YouTube. So I'm not sure if there's going to be some sort of cannibalization, but I'll probably just interlink them together and people can watch whatever it is that they want to watch. So, all right. And Mike says, good to see you. Love the recent interviews I've been putting up. Awesome. Great. That is the hope. I did ask people like, hey, what do you want to hear? So trying to actually listen to what people want. That is another thing to bring up here. So yesterday, who saw the most recent video that I published with, I guess it was, what was the topic? Oh yeah, get traffic to your new website. Totally lost my train of thought there. Yeah, getting traffic to your new website while it's still in the sandbox. Just let me know if you saw that. And I thank everyone who actually went over there, commented, liked the video, and interacted with other folks. So that is hopefully sort of a new way that I'm going to approach it. So I'll give you the background. If you want to hear it, I'm going to talk about it anyway. So a lot of the previous videos that I published, they were live streams. So I wanted to, again, lower the barrier to produce the videos. And I was having trouble shooting and editing and just doing all the pieces. There's so much. So I was like, people are a lot more tolerant. If you're doing a live stream, they expect a couple mistakes here and there. So I would do live streams, and they were rough. I mean, this is 3 years ago, roughly. They were rough. So over time, I realized, okay, I can shoot the videos and I can bring an editor on. So things got better, but oftentimes I was still riffing. I wasn't working from a script. And what happens is you repeat yourself, you end up going on a tangent, and it ends up longer than it needs to be, even if it's not super long. For example, maybe I would do a 12-minute video, but technically, if I would cut it down, it would be a great 7-minute video. There's really only 7 minutes of content in there. Part of it is having a script ahead of time. The other part is just editing harder. So with that interview, okay, so people said, yeah, you watched it. You watched that video. Cool. Thanks everyone who did check it out. If you didn't have a chance to comment, I would love it if you went back and watched the whole thing again. Don't skip any of it. And then leave a comment. But I understand. People are busy. Maybe when you're leaving, you're about to go somewhere, just play that video and then put it on like double speed, or half speed, so it takes longer to watch. Anyway, what I did was I wrote out a script, and then I had 2 more passes at it at least where I like edited down. And I think, after I watched the video, after it went live on YouTube, I was like, you know what? I probably could have cut 30 more seconds out of there, maybe a minute. I'm not sure. So the other thing I was watching, I can't remember. It was some video unrelated to any kind of marketing stuff. And it was really an essay. It was an essay that someone was reading, and they were never on camera, right? It was a good topic, good headline. They were never on camera, and all they showed was BRoll. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, what am I doing? Because most of mine are just a talking head, which is fine. That is fine for the right thing. However, if you throw the BRoll in there, it definitely breaks it up a lot more, and it gives the viewer a lot more to pay attention to. So I was hoping to get better viewer retention. A lot of times it drops off like a cliff. I mean, you do an intro and you just say your name and like 50% of the people leave. So I was like, you know what? I'm going straight into the content. No one gives a fuck who I am or why I'm here. They just want some information. So I needed to hopefully hook people in as quickly as possible. And I'm already thinking, like, as I'm talking, one thing I did a little intro before I started going into it. I bet I can cut that intro mostly out and then just get into the content and then do the intro after a minute or so. That way people are hooked in. Hopefully they're going to stick around. The other thing, and someone pointed this out, they said they noticed that I didn't do an intro until it was like 2/3 over. So I don't even mention my name or who I am or no calls to action until a few minutes in. So I don't know if I need to tweak that a little bit, but the goal with this video, number one, get better viewer retention. Number two, I wanted it to be something that would bring in some search traffic. So over the last, I would say 6 months or so, I'm not really paying attention to keywords. I'm just doing interviews. I'm just doing the videos that I enjoy doing. And that means there's a spike of views from subscribers. Notifications go out, people see it, but oftentimes there's not really much of a, uptick over time. Even though I'm publishing a lot of videos, people are not watching. They're not like finding the channel and then going back and watching like all 1,000 other videos. They're pretty much just watching like one or two, and then maybe some will be suggested. So there's no like growth. There's no organic growth happening. However, about 2 months ago, I published a video where I put in some good keywords unintentionally. It just happened to be the topic. And there was the normal spike of views. So maybe over the course of the first 2 to 3 weeks, maybe 1,000 views or so. So it's fine. And typically, the videos just sort of die out. The views die out. People watch a trickle here and there. However, this particular video happened to be a good keyword, so it's pulling in organic traffic from YouTube search, maybe a little bit from Google search as well, but it's doing pretty good on the YouTube search. So now I see that video is just slowly growing, has a wonderful click-through rate, thumbnail was really good, goes along well, and is delivering the content that people are looking for. So great click-through rate. It's slowly growing in views. Not a good overall retention, by the way. It's like 40%. I think people watch like 2 minutes and 30 seconds roughly. And basically, you end up seeing like, oh, I'm getting subscribers, I'm getting more views, and I published it, and then it slowly had a life of its own. So as I've been dicking around here for the last 6 months, I've been chatting with some friends that are doing more for keyword research. They're trying to grow their YouTube channel and being intentional about it. And I see they're getting, as many views or more views as me, even though they may have a channel that is 20% the size. So as I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, I got to get back to it. Plus, I'm much better creating the videos. A couple people commented, thank you. I am looking for compliments. Ashley says it was great editing and just fast cuts. You don't want to hear me talking like I am on this video. If people are finding it on search, they just want their answer and then they want to move on. So if I could hook them in, that's what I'm going to do. And Chunky Moose says that he registered for a bunch of the sessions at Pubtelligence. Yeah, it looks like a very good lineup, a lot of smart people, some interesting stuff out there. So all that to say, it ties all together with like focusing on the YouTube channel, doing shorter videos, keyword driven, more intentional, plenty of BRoll where it's going to make it hopefully a little bit more interesting to watch just in general. And then because I'm doing a script ahead of time, I can actually be super intentional and put hopefully some jokes in there. They're a little bit funny, or at least funnier than the normal videos that you watch on internet marketing, which can be pretty dry. And yeah, I will see how it goes. I know it's probably going to go different than I expect. It's probably going to take longer and be harder than I expect. But I was like, if I could do a few of these videos occasionally that actually do help grow the channel, that'll be great. And I've actually seen a couple. There was one, there's examples of this all the time where someone, I can't remember what it was on. I think it could have been a photography vlogger, but basically they were trucking along. They're working hard on their channel for a couple years. I think they were in the same sort of scope as where I am at, although it's a much bigger audience in general, a bigger market than internet marketing. But I was able to check out a video where someone basically grew from something like 20,000 subscribers to like 120 in 2 weeks or something like that. I assume a couple of their videos went viral and just the right things hit And that is often like what happens. I can't remember. There was another channel. Oh yeah, there was like a true crime channel where I've talked about this guy before. He basically was like doing well, and he had, I think, like 10,000, 12,000 subscribers. Our channels were the same size. When I found him, he had 37,000 subscribers, and he did a video. He's like, "Oh man, this is great. Thanks for following it." Something happened. He was like, "I don't know. My channel just had 14,000 subscribers 2 weeks ago, and then something blew up." I think right now his channel has, I don't know, I think it's like 340,000 subscribers, something like that. So anyway, I don't expect that kind of growth, but I've definitely been not helping myself at all algorithmically. So if I actually take a more deliberate approach, I think my channel should grow. So, and Mike says that he also registered for several of the Pubtelligence sessions there. So Gaurav says, "I wish I remember the keywords, but I discovered you, Doug, from Apple Podcast." Oh, another thing, right? So if you look on your, I don't think I could link up my phone, but I can probably hold it in front. So in the past, I called it the Doug.Show, so I can have like some leeway to talk about whatever. And I was just doing that. And then a couple weeks ago, I thought, well, I'm pretty much, to Mike's point, I'm pretty much doing interviews. I'm talking about affiliate marketing, side hustles, and the like. I was like, oh, why don't I just put affiliate marketing and side hustles with Doug Cunnington in the title? That seems a little smarter, right? Otherwise, I mentioned affiliate marketing in my description, but I'm not putting it out there. Anyway, if you go to Apple Podcast and you search for affiliate marketing, now I show up. And I also show up like in a prominent, so I just search for affiliate marketing. I'll try and hold it should refocus. Come on, baby. There you go. So there's I search for affiliate marketing, and then you got smart passive income and the Doug.Show. I scrolled over like 2 screens, but I'm on there. I'm on there now. So it just shows that I definitely take a longer route occasionally. Luckily, I have some other things going on, so it's okay. Yep. It's pretty nuts. So anyway, Gaurav, I think now if you search for other stuff on Apple Podcasts, then you'll probably be able to find me a little easier, instead of me like making it as difficult as possible for people to find me. So, and what else do we have? Any questions out there? I am happy to wrap it up early today, by the way. Let's see, we got Pubtelligence, we talked about it. New video style, Q&A. Shout out to Ezoic. I already talked about Ezoic, but check out their Site Speed Accelerator. That is the video that I was talking about, by the way. I show you the Site Speed Accelerator and do a little demo with that. Sayed says, is Amazon affiliate good for beginners now, even after the commissions have been slashed? Yes. Still good for beginners because it is very easy to make the conversion. If you use some other affiliate program, it could be fine. However, the volume of sales is going to be much lower, and typically people are not as likely to buy from other companies, other affiliate programs. People will buy, don't get me wrong, but the conversion rate that Amazon has, and Amazon sells just a shitload of stuff, so I don't have to convince you on that. So the volume does make up for it. If you want to take a different route, that is totally fine. Amazon is one of the options that you have. Many times people are attracted to ClickBank products, and they're like, oh, what can I sell on ClickBank? I have only worked with a couple companies on ClickBank, and generally, yeah, you potentially can get a much higher payout, but your volume of sales is going to be lower. Obviously, totally different kinds of products. A lot of times, ClickBank has digital products. So Syed, I would advise you to check out the options that are out there. You can also do drop shipping. You can do display ads for a different kind of niche site. You can do, Amazon FBA, that sort of approach where you do a retail arbitrage where you buy stuff from the clearance rack at some store and then you sell it online. You can also basically pick anything. I mean, you can start a podcast, you can do a YouTube channel, whatever. All of them are fine. All of them have, the commission rate structure is just the specific thing with Amazon and Amazon Associates. However, if you look at FBA, they have their own challenges. If you look at display ads, display ad revenue has been down for some publishers out there. So there's just there's always a trade-off, and Amazon is a really easy way to get started. Okay, David has a Doug.Show question. Has my wife Googled the kids that she nannied for? Just curious as to when they get out of jail. No, I don't think she has. I'll have to ask her about that. That's funny. Gaming World says, why are many items out of stock from Amazon? Well, it depends. Probably, all right. There's a lot of things out of stock. It depends on the category. So if you look at like microphones and things to do teleconferences and Zoom calls and stuff like that, webcams, those are gone. Like a ton of those are gone because people are buying them. So basically it's a supply and demand situation here where the supply was just normal and the demand went up a ton. So people bought all of them. So there's a lot of things that are just out of stock. Otherwise, things normally go out of stock from time to time, just depending on the supply chain. So depends on the industry, could be a totally different thing. Gaurav says, I have seen a smart traffic growth on my site, but I'm not able to get featured snippets despite ranking 2 or 3. You've tried doing what number 1 was doing, but to no avail yet. Yeah, for that, I'm not sure. I think, I don't know the answer to that. If it was easy, then everyone would do it. And I think what I have seen is some shuffling around often. So there may be times where you pop up and pop down and that sort of thing. But yeah, I don't know of a way. I mean, if you look around and you Google it and you watch YouTube videos, people would say to do what you mentioned, Gaurav, where try to do what number 1 is doing and do a better job. Actually, I think that's kind of stupid advice because it's like at some point, right? If like 40 people are doing that, at some point, it's just like, it's good enough. You can't incrementally make that better in a meaningful way. So yeah, if it's something obscure and you can you could answer the question better. I saw a video on this the other day and they're just like, look at the snippet and then answer it better. It's like, how the fuck are you going to answer it better if it's the right answer? Like it doesn't work. So if there is room to improve on it, then sure, improve on it. Other than that, I'm not sure. Oh, and Nathan, what's going on, man? In your research, have you found any noteworthy affiliate sites that you could do a teardown? I haven't been thinking about that specifically. However, one thing that I had on the agenda, Nathan, this may be a good targeted sort of keyword that I can go for. I'd have to do some keyword research on that. Anyway, I checked with the owners of some public sites that are my peers, and I checked with them, hey, can I do teardowns of your sites? And I'll put links in the proper places and give you a shout out, and I won't be a jerk about it. And they all said, yep, that would be fine. So I might do those. And as you know, Nathan, I typically try not to just randomly find a site. I usually aim for sites that are already public in some fashion. Otherwise, I could run the risk of sending a bunch of copycats their way and just kind of screw up what they're doing. As time goes on and as I know of, I won't say too much, but I saw a place where there was basically a list of like, I don't know, I can't, it must have been 2,000 different affiliate sites. I was like, this is a crazy list. Obviously, it's all out, it's readily available, right? But it was like estimated traffic stats and just a ton of statistics. So, and okay. And Nathan, if you have any suggestions that you happen to know are public, shoot me an email. I think we've exchanged emails before. Syed says, may you know my thoughts on Income School's course, and is it better to build a site without backlinks? So I don't know anything about Income School's course, so I can't comment on that. And is it better to build a site without backlinks? I would say generally no, it's better to build a site with backlinks. Graham, what's going on? I was about to text you the other day, man. How are things? How am I aging so gracefully? Is it great coffee and beer? Yeah. So a couple things. You have to take beer every day. Super important. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's the lighting. In here. Strict regimen of tons of beer. Okay. One other thing I thought about doing, because I listen to Noah Kagan's podcast occasionally. I've gone in and out. There was a stretch where I listened to like every episode, and then at some point I just stopped listening, picked it back up recently, depending on the guest. He interviewed Matt D'Avella, who has an awesome YouTube channel. Has anybody watched Matt D'Avella's channel? He's a filmmaker, a documentarian, and does a great job at it. He apparently filmed one of the creators and collaborators for the minimalism documentary that was on Netflix. Like Netflix bought the movie from him. So anyway, Noah interviewed Matt, and Matt said that when his channel sort of popped, he was doing 30-day challenges. I gave up social media for 30 days, or I took a cold shower every day for 30 days, woke up at 5 a.m. every day for 30 days. So I thought, why come up with your own ideas, Doug, when you could just copy someone else's and just translate it over to your own thing? So Graham, to your point, I thought about doing I drank beer every day for 30 days, and here's what happened. Sounds interesting, right? But then I was like, you know what? I'd have to say, I drank beer every day for like 470 days. And here's what happened. That is it. Anyway, I probably will do challenges. That was the point of that. I was like, I have a really good idea for a couple challenges. I have a couple like on the top of my head. I'm about to take a couple of days off here. So I was like, I probably shouldn't start that yet, but maybe I can kick it off before too long. So, all right. Yeah, Graham, I'll shoot you a text later. Thanks for hopping on. Marty says, are you following any SEO blogs or notable people at the moment that I'd be willing to share? Not specifically. Sort of a bad answer, a little bit weird. Okay, so one of the reasons why is I don't want to like consume too much of the same kind of content that I'm creating, because I don't want to accidentally, just unintentionally, take someone's like thing that they're doing and say, oh yeah, you got to try this thing out, and really it originated elsewhere. And that, I mean, obviously, if I saw, hey, that is a great idea, and I want to share what Ron Stefanski is doing for X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, hey man, is it okay if I share this thing? I will attribute you properly, right? So if it's deliberate, then I obviously will give someone credit. But the problem is this: if I'm like consuming a little bit from here and there and everywhere, I might forget that I saw it somewhere, and then just going along, and I'm like, oh man, I just had the greatest idea. I can't believe I thought of that on my own, but really it's just someone else's idea. So to answer your question, basically I'm not following very many SEO type folks right now. And let's see if there were any other sort of SEO or notable people at the moment. So I would say just outside of the SEO world. So again, Noah Kagan, pretty good content most of the time. Tropical MBA, super awesome show. One of the ones I still listen to. They have great guests in general. A lot of them are from their community. What else? Who else do I have on here? I listen to several comedy shows. Akimbo by Seth Godin. That's a really good one. I'm just looking. I listen to The Office ladies too. My wife's sick of hearing about that, but I love The Office, so I just keep watching it. I have been listening to several financial independence podcasts. As hopefully many of you know, I started interviewing some FI people. I'm interested in the topics, and I mean, people that do side hustles and want to work on their own. Typically, we're the same sort of people. It's just we come at it at a different direction often. So I haven't been listening as much to the FI podcast. I kind of have it down, but I have been listening to sort of scout for people that I want to interview. So comedy podcasts, let's see. Conan O'Brien's pretty good. I listen to Bill Burr pretty often. And Tim Ferriss is still pretty solid. I do cherry pick the guests just because sometimes I'm uninterested, which, yeah, just uninterested. And Graham says, life is good. Working on high ticket drop shipping, going to implement KGR for the main content strategy on Google Ads, and it should work really well. Yes, I would love to talk to you soon. Well, after you get some results, I know that can work really well just in general. I interviewed a guy named John. He's on the channel here, and he was crushing it with a high ticket drop shipping. He had his, I guess, AdWords account banned, was unable to run ads, and he's pulling in just organic traffic, and his business is exploding. You should check out the interview if you haven't seen it. So John, high ticket drop shipping, should be able to find it on my channel. Shri Raj, what's up? Can I share the thoughts and findings about the last core algorithm update? What date are you talking about? And generally, I don't, another area, I don't really keep as up to date as some, I wouldn't say I'm like a pure SEO person because I don't keep up to date with all the algorithm stuff as much as others. Saeed says, is it okay to build a complete Amazon niche site using only the KGR technique? Yes, that is fine. And yeah, Graham, thanks a lot. Thanks for hopping in. Much appreciated. GS, what's going on? Masher says you came in late. And okay. Yeah, so Marty mentions, hey, that's fair. So yeah, there's a lot of other shows that I listen to. And I go from periods of time where I like listen to 0 podcasts for a couple weeks and then start listening to more and more of them. So, all right. I think I'm going to start wrapping here in a few minutes. A couple things I also wanted to point out. I was chatting with, you can see the boxes up there, these boxes, which my shirt almost matches. Maybe we'll get the focus here. Just a shout out to the Formula crew, which hopefully, again, I just need to put it close here so it's in focus. So I do take these nootropics pretty often. I'm an affiliate for these folks, and I was chatting with one of the founders earlier this morning, just catching up. And I did switch over to the caffeine-free formula since I'm cutting down on my caffeine just a little bit. And I do enjoy taking the creativity whenever I'm doing writing. And then clarity oftentimes when I'm talking like this or recording a podcast, that sort of thing. And I didn't realize it, but when I was talking to Adam today, again, one of the co-founders, he mentioned that a lot of the people that are sort of coming in and using formula, they are not like hardcore biohackers who have taken a bunch of nootropics. They're people that are like just getting started and they're interested in testing it out. And I was like, oh, wow, I didn't know that at all, but that's literally like how I came in the door. And I enjoyed the product so much that I was like, hey, I'd love to interview you guys. And we've had like a nice relationship after that. So anyway, if you're interested in testing out Nootropics, highly recommend it. You do a short little survey to see what you're trying to get into. Let me make sure I put there's a link in the description, nichesiteproject.com/formula. And yeah, you do a little questionnaire, the things you want to improve on. They just upgraded and they have these beautiful little booklets here, which is just too bright with the lights like that. But it has like a little journal in the back so that you can write down your experience when you take a specific thing, which is literally what I did. And when I chatted with them, I was like, hey guys, I don't know the right way to log if this is working or not, or what should I do? So I actually just like had a notebook and wrote down, I took the logic formula at 9 a.m. and then I would check in and just write like one line, maybe an hour later, and then maybe like 2 hours later, how I felt. And then at the end of the day, I would write, hey, did I feel like I got more done today, or was I totally stressed out? Luckily for me, I had no like ill effects. All of them were fine for me. And yeah, I have no trouble. But I think for some people, depending on what it is, there could be a different sensitivity that you have. Anyway, highly recommend you check it out. GS signed up for the webinars next week. Fantastic. And Syed says that you're a fan and I'm humble. Thanks. Thank you. All right. Andy says, how soon after you publish a site should you get Google Ads hooked up? So I typically, are you talking about like AdSense to show ads on your site, or to run ads so that you can get traffic to your site? I'll assume that you're talking about AdSense. Now, AdSense, those are the ads that you put on your site and you earn money from those. I wouldn't get into a big rush. I would probably just go ahead and wait until you're getting, maybe a few dozen visitors per day. There's no minimum number of visitors, by the way, for signing up for AdSense. But if you're in China or India, they like it if your site has been around for 6 months. So, but yeah, I would wait and just spend your time on getting more content published, more traffic, and then you should be okay. But Andy, you can clarify if you want. Ryan says, is it worth going after KGR terms with low search competition, like 10? You need to rank number 1 for very little traffic. Okay, so yes, it's worth it. And I hear this all the time. And actually, there's a perfect example from just couple months ago. Look up the interview, Ryan, it was Justin. I talked to Justin Seals, and he gets most of his traffic. He's making, like, at the time that I talked with him, $1,300 a month. And I think it was just after the commission rate change. And basically, I believe his highest traffic page is from a search term that has reportedly 0 searches per month. Obviously, people are searching for something related to it, probably a long tail keyword. So Ryan, that is why it is okay to go after a search volume of 10, because there are many related long tail keywords that are similar, but maybe not exactly what you're looking for, and they just don't show up. Yes, you may end up publishing a lot of content where no one goes to it. However, you might get a shitload of content and you didn't think you were going to. So it's definitely a volume approach where you publish a little bit more, you have more chances for that to happen. So yeah, publish the low search volume terms. All right. Any other questions? I think that's it for now. Little recap. Do check out my other channel. So I just started another channel with basically 0 subscribers just earlier. I think we may have up to 2 or 3 at this point. Link in the description. Basically, if people don't subscribe and view the channel, I probably won't continue publishing to it. So it's just a way for me to separate it, clean up this channel, and get the content that people want in the place that they want it, and then not make everyone suffer through all of the other videos that they don't care about. And I'll report back, see what happens. I will keep a lookout also for the Doug.Show podcast channel. There's enough people that do consume the podcast over here on YouTube that I will probably start a channel up over there and just have it running in parallel. So I am not sure if that'll end up being the right move. I think it's probably fine. At least I have like clear analytics on what's going on for the podcast on YouTube, a little bit more clear than any of the other data. I was trying to like pull together like how many people are listening to the show and all that. It's a mess. I mean, the people, the podcast hosting companies, they can't really like get you the right data. There's just too many channels that people can pull the episodes down with, and then you don't know if they listen to it or not. Typically, Spotify has. I wasn't even hooked up to the analytics over there, and then I took a look today, and I was like, oh wow, there's actually a decent number of people on the Spotify side. Blew my mind, and it tells you. I think there's more followers than there are like actual listeners. Sort of interesting, but yeah, there's a lot more people following than are listening to episodes each week. So anyway, I think that's it. Thanks everybody. Again, check out Pubtelligence, sign up for that. There's going to be a meetup in Atlanta in a couple weeks. There's a link in the description. And if you have a chance, right? So some people are like, hey, appreciate the work you do, Doug. You can help me out if you go to the new video, getting traffic to a new site, like the video, leave a comment. I'm hoping, got the fingers crossed, that in a month or two, I'll be able to report back and say, hey, this is a video that's ranking now. And I created it in a very intentional way, and it's ranking and it's bringing in new subscribers. So, oh, Andy says you don't see the link for the new channel. So I'm not sure where you're viewing. If you're on your phone, you may have, it's in the description. So it's the first link in there. It's nichesiteproject.com/YouTube clips. I created a short link for it there. So yeah, if you don't find it, just search for Doug Cunnington Clips channel and it'll be there. And there'll be no videos. I'm going to try and publish one in a few minutes here, a big mashup, but yeah, we'll see how the rest of it goes. All right, I'm out of here. Thanks everybody.